Kevin, are you ready back there as well?
Yeah, I'm ready whenever you press stream.
It's coming right back. It's coming up right now. There we go.
So are we recording, and is this going out live?
We are going out live, Mr. Mayor, and we are recording.
Very well. Welcome this evening. This is a meeting of the Frankfort Village Board, and we call this meeting to order, and we ask our clerk, Brian Feary, to take the roll, please.
This is Mayor. Mayor Holland.
Here.
Trustee Severia.
Here.
Trustee Petro.
Here.
Trustee Ogle.
Here.
Trustee Farina.
Here.
Trustee Clavio.
Here.
Trustee Borelli. Absent.
He's trying, just so you know, Trustee Borelli is trying to get on. He just can't find him, the ID right now. I'll get it for him.
Okay, great. Yep. Attorney Mahoney.
I'm here.
Okay. Attorney Lamore.
Present.
Chief Barika.
Present.
Administrator Pisha.
I am present.
Okay. All present.
Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Ladies and gentlemen, I mentioned this is a board meeting, and my name is Jim Hull. I'm the village president, a title that's more commonly called mayor. In accordance with Public Act 101-0640, 5 ILCS 120/7E, this Village of Frankfort Village Board meeting will be held remotely and in person on the gubernatorial disaster declaration and the president of the Village of Frankfort determining that a full in-person meeting is not practical or prudent. Members of the public will be able to attend the meeting in person, but the village will enforce any capacity restrictions in effect due to any applicable gubernatorial executive order. The general public will be able to view and participate in the meeting remotely as well. As we have in the past, we are following the governor's executive order, which restricts gatherings inside to no more than 10 people. This effectively means we need to hold this meeting remotely. You can find instructions for how to join us and how to make public comments of our website at frankfortil.org, or you can find the information posted on the front door of the village administration building, where it has been posted since last Friday. Public comments for this meeting that were received in advance will be read. Zoom participants who want to speak will need to push the button that says raise hand, and we will then recognize them. Phone participants can speak by pressing *9 on their phone. Anyone at the village boardroom can raise his or her hand to speak. So with that, we'll move on with the meeting, and the next item of business is what we call the unanimous consent agenda. All items on the unanimous consent agenda are considered routine in nature, and we will vote on them after a single motion. If any trustees want to discuss any of the items in more detail, or for any reason want to remove it from the consent agenda, we will do that. So I first ask, do any trustees want to remove any items from the consent agenda? Trustee Borelli.
Mayor, I'd like to remove item B from the consent agenda.
Item E, Operations Committee.
No, item B, I'm sorry.
Oh, item B. I get it now. The approval of the bills. All right, that's fine. We'll just remove that from the consent agenda. Anything else? Great. Then I'll entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda.
So moved, Mr. Mayor.
We have a motion
Second.
by trustee Ogle and a second by trustee Farina to approve the consent agenda this evening. We do want the audience that may be in our boardroom, I don't know if they're there, and certainly the audience if they're at home or on the internet or in days hence, to be able to know something about the items we're passing on the unanimous consent agenda. So we'll go over each one of them just briefly. The first item is the approval of our minutes from our last meeting on November 2nd. And the second item is going to be from the Financial Affairs Committee. And we'll go to the chair of the Financial Affairs, trustee Severia, for a report on that item.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. At the November 10th meeting, the Financial Affairs Committee looked at ways the village could help local businesses struggling as a result of the COVID-19 pandemic. Members considered a proposal to waive annual business liquor, amusement, and tobacco license fees to help businesses negatively impacted by the pandemic. There was a consensus of the committee to forward a recommendation to the village board to approve the waiver of annual license renewal fees for 2021 on an opt-in basis. The motion is to accept the recommendation of the Financial Affairs Committee and adopt a resolution authorizing the waiver of annual business liquor, amusement, and tobacco license fees for 2021 for existing qualified businesses who request their fees be waived.
Well, a significant issue indeed, and thank you very much, trustee Severia. Then we do have several items from the Land Use and Policy Committee, and we'll go to trustee Ogle for a report on those.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The first item on here is approval of the 2021 Village of Frankfort meeting and holiday calendar. At our November 10th, 2020 meeting, the Land Use and Policy Committee reviewed the proposed 2021 meeting and holiday calendar. There's a consensus of the committee to forward a recommendation to the village board to approve the calendar as presented and motion to accept the recommendation of the Land Use and Policy Committee and approve the 2021 Village of Frankfort meeting and holiday calendar. The second item on here tonight is the Liquor Code Ordinance Amendment, and is the creation of a Class D4 liquor license. And also discussed by the Land Use and Policy Committee was the creation of a Class D4 liquor license classification, which expands the requirements of the D3 liquor license classification to include sale of all alcoholic liquors for on-site, on-premises consumption. And it was the consensus of the committee to forward a recommendation to the village board to pass an ordinance amending the Frankfort Code of Ordinances, Chapter 113, as presented. So a motion to accept the recommendation of the Land Use and Policy Committee, waive the first and second readings, and pass an ordinance amending the Village of Frankfort Code of Ordinances, Chapter 113, Intoxicating Liquor, to reflect the creation of a Class D4 liquor license classification. The next item that we present tonight is license plate reading cameras. This is a two-part agreement here. It's an agreement with Flock Safety and authorization of a memorandum of understanding resolution, and also an intergovernmental agreement with the County of Will, a resolution there also. So the Land Use and Policy Committee also reviewed two draft resolutions presented by Chief Barica pertaining to the use and placement of license plate reading cameras for the Village of Frankfort. The agreement with Flock Safety provides a 60-day trial period and 5-year commitment thereafter for the purpose of exploring the use of license plate reading cameras. The memorandums of understanding and intergovernmental agreement provide for the placement of license plate reading cameras on property within or adjacent to the corporate limits of the village. The cost of each of the license plate reading cameras, and there's up to 14 cameras, is $2,000 per year for a period of 5 years if the village determines that the cameras are in the best interest of the village and its residents after following this 60-day trial period. Several surrounding communities are also taking part in the 60-day trial, which include Matson, Mokina, New Lenox, Orland Park, and Tinley Park. It was the consensus of our committee to forward a recommendation to the village board to authorize the chief of police to enter into an agreement with Flock Safety for the use of license plate readers, and authorizing the village administrator or chief of police to enter into memorandums of understanding with record property owners related to the installation, maintenance, repair, and removal of these license plate reader cameras. So the motion is to accept the recommendation of the Land Use and Policy Committee and adopt a resolution authorizing the Chief of Police to enter into an agreement with Flock Safety for the use of license plate reader cameras and authorizing the village administrator or Chief of Police to enter into memorandums of understanding with record property owners related to the installation, maintenance, repair, and removal of license plate reader cameras on properties in Frankfort. Additionally, it was the consensus of the committee to forward a recommendation to the village board to adopt a resolution authorizing the execution of an intergovernmental agreement with the County of Will for the placement of these license plate reader cameras. And that motion, which is the final motion, is to accept the recommendation of the Land Use and Policy Committee and adopt a resolution authorizing the execution of an intergovernmental agreement between the Village of Frankfort and the County of Will for the placement of license plate reading cameras located on county highways in the County of Will. That's all I have tonight, Mayor.
Thank you, Trustee Ogle. Very interesting items again. Then we do have some items from our Operations Committee, and we'll go to the Chair of the Operations Committee, Trustee Borelli, for a report on those.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I have a 7-year-old screaming in the background, so forgive me. We'll see how this goes. The first item was the Public Works Department Parkway Tree Replacement Project. At our Operations Committee meeting on November 10th, we reviewed two bid submittals for the supply and installation of 185 parkway trees, which were lost during the derecho storm, the big windstorm back in August. The fields on Caton Farm Incorporated provided the low bid in the amount of $51,825. It was the consensus of the committee to forward a recommendation to the village board. And the motion before us tonight is to accept the recommendation of the Operations Committee and adopt a resolution authorizing the execution of a contract with Fields on Caton Farm Incorporated for the supply and installation of 185 parkway trees located throughout the village in an amount not to exceed $51,825.00. The next item was the replacement pickup truck purchase approvals resolution. The committee considered a request from Superintendent Kessel to purchase 2 identical work trucks to replace a 1999 F-250 and a 2005 F-350, which are experiencing several mechanical issues and are no longer reliable in the fleet. Phillips Chevrolet of Frankfort submitted the low bid in the amount of $41,969 per truck, and the work trucks will be purchased via government discount pricing. The village's FY 2021 budget allocates funds for the purchase of the vehicles for the Public Works Department. The committee forwarded a recommendation. The motion before us tonight is to accept the recommendation of the Operations Committee and adopt a resolution authorizing the execution of a purchase agreement with Phillips Chevrolet of Frankfort for the purchase of 2 2021 Chevy Silverado 3500 HD 4-wheel drive regular cab work trucks in the amount of $41,969.00 per truck for a total purchase price of $83,938.00. The next item was the Jackson Creek maintenance completion. At that meeting, we also discussed the release of the village's management responsibilities of the wetland restoration area and bridge and acceptance by the Forest Preserve District of Will County. Superintendent Kessler reported the village entered into an intergovernmental agreement with the district that allowed the relocation of Jackson Creek for the improvements of Stager Road. The agreement also allowed for the construction of a multi-use path and restoration of the wetland area. The project has been successfully completed, and with sign-off requirements for the bridge, creek restoration, and wetland restoration fulfilled, the district will assume management of the area. The committee forwarded a recommendation to the board. The motion before us is to adopt a resolution authorizing the release of the wetland mitigation and bridge and acceptance by the Forest Preserve District of Will County associated with the intergovernmental agreement number 16-04 regarding the expansion of Stager Road. Going over to our utilities department, we have a few items. The first one was the replacement pickup truck purchase approvals, similar to our public works one. At that meeting, we reviewed a request from Utilities Director Zach Brown to purchase 2 work trucks to replace a 2005 350 and a 2007 350, which are at the end of their useful life. And the cost of repairs are no longer justified in relation to the vehicle's value and reliability. Phillips Chevrolet of Frankfort submitted the low bid in the amount of $41,969 and $43,883 for the crew cab. And the work trucks will be purchased via government discount pricing. The village's 2021 budget allocates funds for the purchase of the vehicles for the utilities department. And then the committee forwarded a recommendation, and that the motion is to adopt a resolution authorizing the execution of a purchase agreement with Phillips Chevrolet of Frankfort for the purchase of a 2021 Chevrolet Silverado 3500 HD four-wheel drive regular cab in the amount of $41,969.00 and a 2021 Chevrolet Silverado 3500 HD four-wheel drive in the amount of $43,885.00. Next item, project services agreement, proposed well number 12, Prestwick Drive. The operations committee discussed a project services agreement with Farnsworth Group for engineering services related to the design, permitting, and bidding for the construction of well number 17. The utilities department operates well number 7, an iron filtration plant and water tower at 601 Prestwick Drive. Director Brown reported the casing for well number 7 is failing and recommended entering an agreement with Farnsworth Group to assist the village with the design, permitting, and bidding of proposed well number 17, which will replace well number 7. The committee forwarded a recommendation. So the motion before us tonight is to accept that recommendation and adopt a resolution authorizing the execution of a project services agreement with Farnsworth Group Incorporated for professional engineering services related to the design, permitting, and bidding for the construction of well number 17 for a lump sum fee of $15,000.00. And that's all I have, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Trustee Borelli. And now we have a couple of items from our Plan Commission. So we go to the Plan Commission liaison, Trustee Clavio, for a report on that.
Thank you, Mayor Holland. We've got 2 items before us tonight. The first one is a row variance from property located at 231 Oak Street. The property owners, Bob and Mary Rowe, who are with us as attendees virtually tonight, proposed to build a single-family residence on the vacant land located at 231 Oak Street, which is located in the Old Town area. The proposed home is designed in a shingle-style architecture with its facade finished predominantly in shake-style composite siding. The applicants seek the granting of a first-floor building materials variance from the masonry requirement to permit the use of composite siding on the new home. The proposed non-masonry construction is consistent with the recommendations of the Downtown Residential Design Guidelines. Mr. Mayor, at the November 12, 2020 Plan Commission meeting, the commissioners forwarded a unanimous recommendation to the village board to grant this variance. And the motion before us on this one is to accept the Plan Commission recommendation, waive the first and second readings, and pass an ordinance granting a building materials variance from the masonry requirement to permit the use of composite siding in the construction of a new single-family home on the property located at 231 Oak Street, in accordance with the reviewed plans and public testimony and conditioned upon final engineering approval. The second item before us tonight is the Lighthouse Point Phase 3 project, and that's 2 items before us tonight. One is a major PUD change, which is an ordinance change, and the other one is a final plat of the first re-subdivision of Lighthouse Point Phase 3. O'Malley Builders, who is also with us tonight virtually on the phone, recently acquired this undeveloped lots and common areas of the Lighthouse Point Phase 3 subdivision. The applicant proposes to reduce the number of units in Lighthouse Point Phase 3 townhomes from 104 units to 87 units and revise the site plan and architectural layouts of the existing approved development. The applicant requests approval of a major PUD change and a plat of re-subdivision. Also at the November 12th, 2020 Plan Commission meeting, the commissioners forwarded 2 unanimous 4-0 recommendations to the village board for granting of the major PUD change and the final plat of the first re-subdivision of Lighthouse Point Phase 3. So before us tonight, Mr. Mayor, is 2 things. First is to accept the Plan Commission recommendation, waive the first and second readings, and pass an ordinance granting a major PUD change to Phase 3 of the Lighthouse Point development to permit changes to the site plan, exterior architectural elevations, project amenities plan, and to reduce the total number of units from 104 to 87 in accordance with the reviewed plans and public testimony and with conditions as enumerated in the ordinance. The second item before us tonight is to accept the Plan Commission recommendation and approve the final plat of the first RETA subdivision of Lighthouse Point Phase 3, prepared by M. Gingrich, Giroux and Associates, dated November 11th, 2020, in accordance with the reviewed plans and conditioned on final engineering approval. That's all I have tonight, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Trustee Clavio. And those are all of the items on the consent agenda this evening. So before we vote on them or discuss them, is there anyone in the audience who wants to speak to the board about any of these issues? And were there any comments that we received in writing?
Mr. Mayor, there were no comments received in writing. We do have a hand raised from Mr. Sean O'Malley.
Excellent. Mr. O'Malley.
Sean, you just need to unmute your microphone.
Oh, I'm not sure. I think my iPad did that automatically, so I apologize. If there's any questions, I'm more than happy to answer them. Thank you.
Are there any questions for Mr. O'Malley? Certainly, Sean, we want to thank you for presenting this material to the residents and going through our process, which is required, but we certainly had some good comments from the residents who seem to be very pleased that you're proposing these changes and moving ahead with more construction in our community, and we certainly appreciate the investment.
Thank you, Mayor, and we're looking forward to another great project here as we just finished up the other phase, and looking forward to getting going on this phase. Thank you, Mayor and board.
Excellent. Any comments from the trustees? Trustee Farina.
Thank you, Mayor Helen. I just had a comment on the ordinance in front of us from Chief Barica tonight. I know it was a lot of work working with our neighboring communities and the county, and thank you for doing that so we can have a safer community. I appreciate your work. Thank you.
Good comment, because it was a lot of work. It still is. It's still going on, but all of us think that it will make our community safer. And there are a number of safeguards to protect private information and information that, anyway, there are all kinds of safeguards in this, and it looks to me like a really good program, especially with our neighboring communities joining into the same program. I think it will help all of the police departments fight crime more effectively. So any other comments from the trustees? Then we'll go to our clerk, Brian Feary, for the vote.
Petro,
Yes.
trustee Borelli,
Yes.
trustee Ogle,
Yes.
trustee Severia. Gene,
That's a yes. Sorry, I was on mute.
okay. Trustee Farina,
Yes.
trustee Claudio,
Yes.
motion carries.
Very well. We have one item that was taken off the consent agenda. And so in a moment, we'll go to that. Trustee Borelli.
Yeah, I'm going to leave the meeting for this part of the discussion.
Okay, I don't know how we know. Rob, can you send him a text message when we're done so he can come back?
Okay.
Good. And somehow in the minutes or in the notes here, we should note that Trustee Borelli is leaving at this time, and then we'll get him back.
Thank you.
Okay. See you, Adam. So now we will go to Trustee Severia for a report on the bills this evening.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Bills tonight are pretty routine in nature. They total $789,063.22. We had a line item from Bill's Landscaping for municipal mowing and bed maintenance for $12,167. Our health insurance premium for the month of November was $142,896.09. PT Farrell construction expenditure for road maintenance was $14,061.84. And then the line item that I believe Trustee Borelli excused himself for is we had a permit refund for 301 Oregon Street for Adam Borelli for $2,325. And nope, I guess it was $2,557.50. Our payroll expense for November, as of November 13th, was $387.94 or $94.76, and that concludes our bills this evening.
Thank you, Trustee Severia. we need to have a motion to approve the bills.
So moved.
We have a motion by trustee Severia.
I'll
and a
second.
By trustee Ogle. Any discussion about the bills? Then we'll go to our clerk, Brian Fury, for the vote.
Trustee Ogle,
Yes.
trustee Clavio,
Yes.
trustee Severia,
Yes.
trustee Petro,
yes,
trustee Farina.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Very well. And Rob, you'll let Adam know. And at this time, that brings us to the part of our evening that we call the mayor's report. So the first thing on the mayor's report is a liquor ordinance amendment. We're going to, let's see, we're going to authorize a reduction in the number of D3, that's bistro and wine bar, beer and wine only, permitting bar and limited carryouts liquor licenses from 1 to 0. And then we're going to increase the number of class D4, bistro and wine bar, permitting bar and limited carryouts liquor licenses from 0 to 1. That was the new license we created under the consent agenda this evening. And what this is doing is reflecting the operational change to the Wine Thief in downtown Frankfort to include the sale of all alcoholic liquors for on-premise consumption. So I would entertain a motion to waive the first and second readings and pass an ordinance amending the Village of Frankfort Code of Ordinances, Chapter 113, intoxicating liquor, to reduce the number of Class D3 liquor licenses from 1 to 0 and increase the number of D4 liquor licenses from 0 to 1.
So moved.
We have a
Second.
motion by trustee Severia,
Second.
and we have a second by trustee Farina. Any discussion on this issue? Then we'll go to our clerk, Brian Fury, for the vote.
Trustee Severia,
Yes.
trustee Petro,
yes,
trustee Ogle,
Yes.
trustee Farina,
Yes.
trustee Clavio,
Yes.
trustee Borelli.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Second item on the mayor's report has to do with Small Business Saturday. Small Business Saturday is the Saturday after Thanksgiving. It'll be on November 28th this year. Certainly the trustees and I support Small Business Saturday and encourage our residents to support the small businesses of Frankfort. And we not only want them to support them on that Saturday, but throughout the year. So I would entertain a motion to designate Saturday, November 28th as Small Business Saturday in the Village of Frankfort.
so moved,
We have a motion by trustee Petro
Second.
and a second by trustee Severia, I think.
Yes.
Perfect. So a little bit of discussion on this. We do have a proclamation here, and I just want to read a couple of items on it. Whereas small businesses employ 47.3% of the employees in the private sector in the United States. 62% of U.S. small businesses reported that they need to see consumer spending return to pre-COVID levels by the end of 2020 in order to stay in business. 65% of U.S. small business owners said it would be most helpful to their business to have their regulars return and start making purchases again. And 3/4 of U.S. consumers are currently looking for ways to shop small and support their community. 96% of consumers who shopped on Small Business Saturday agree that shopping at small, independently owned businesses supports their commitment to making purchases that have a positive social, economic, and environmental impact. 97% of consumers who shopped on Small Business Saturday agree that small businesses are essential to their community. 95% of consumers who shopped on Small Business Saturday reported that they makes them want to shop or eat at small, independently owned businesses all year long, not just the holiday season. Anyway, it's a lot of nice little comments there, and Trustee Farina pointed out that our small businesses in our downtown, at least many of them, offer curbside pickup, and they'll even offer private shopping for people. So keep that in mind. Good comment, Margaret, about that. And we have a motion and a second, and I'll go to our clerk, Brian Fury, for the vote.
Trustee Clavia.
Does anybody else want to say anything about this issue, small business Saturday? Okay, Brian, take it away with the vote.
Okay, trustee Clavio,
Yes.
trustee Farina,
Yes.
trustee Borelli,
Yes.
trustee Ogle,
Yes.
trustee Severia,
Yes.
trustee Petro.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Okay, we are going to have a virtual tree lighting ceremony this year. And many of us will remember that in Frankfort on the first Thursday in December, it's a time that hundreds of families come together in downtown Frankfort to hear musical selections and light the green and visit with Santa Claus. Well, it's not safe for Santa Claus this year. So, and it's really not safe for all of us to be gathering together on the green. So we're going to do it over a virtual system, and we're getting musical selections from the Hickory Creek Choir, from the Lincoln Way East Madrigals, from the Black Willow Brass Quintet, and of course from that great band, the Frankfort Brass Band. They'll play some items too. And we'll put together a nice program for everyone, and you can watch it from your home where it's nice and warm. As part of this, or as sort of part of it, letters to Santa Claus. It's just not safe for Santa Claus to be with the children on that evening. So how are we going to have a way for the children to make their wishes known to Santa? Well, we can send letters to Santa Claus, care of Mayor Holland, 432 West Nebraska Street, or you can email them to frankfort@frankfortil.org, or you can send them to me at jholland@frankfortil.org, or you can drop the letters at the Village Hall. There's going to be a mailbox that says Letters to Santa, and it looks like something out of the North Pole. I'll make sure the letters get to Santa Claus. And every letter will get a reply, which my wife has warned me could get me into a lot of problems and result in a lot of work, and I hope so. I think that would be very good, as long as the child provides a name and address that I can send the response to. So that's where we are on that. I did want to point out too, I think many of you know that I'm on the executive board of the Metropolitan Mayor's Caucus, and all 275 villages, cities, and towns of the Metropolitan Mayor's Caucus today have united to ask all of our residents to commit to some common sense steps to help reduce the spread of COVID-19. This item was published today and will likely get some play in the press in the near future. And I'm going to just read a few things from it. The simple common sense items are: continue to wear face coverings whenever you are indoors or at a public place or outdoors encountering people outside of your immediate household. When leaving home, continue to practice social distancing by always staying at least 6 feet away from others. Continue to wash your hands and use hand sanitizer. Consider limiting trips outside your home to going to work, attending school, and obtaining vital goods and services such as medical care, food, household essentials, or of course, gifts for Christmas. Limit those gatherings to no more than 10 people. And remember, it's safest to only associate with members of your own household. And finally, just avoid all unnecessary travel if you can. So that's the kind of thing that was said. There are a couple of quotes in here, and they're very appropriate. Everyone needs to step up right now to bend this curve downward and to save some lives and help our businesses remain open, or in some cases to reopen. It's just incumbent upon each of us to take personal responsibility to stop the spread of this virus. With that, we certainly wish all of our residents a safe and happy Thanksgiving. And we now move on to the police department report from our police chief, John Barica.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. And as you speak about all of these winter gatherings coming up, I also like to remind people that we do have a 2-inch snowfall parking restriction that goes into effect. Although you couldn't tell by the 70 degrees last week and the 65 degrees coming up this week, sooner or later it will snow. So we just ask that people voluntarily get their cars off the street and make sure that they keep it clear for our public works to have a safe route to go down, and it also allows them to speed up and do it a little bit quicker. And I do know that having 2 kids in college, I will have extra cars at home, so you may want to plan for where you're going to put all those cars when it does snow. Secondly, speaking of COVID, I do want to remind people that we do have online reports. It's another way of reporting where you don't have to have contact with the officer. You can do it from your home, do it over the computer. We will still contact you by phone and be able to get all the necessary information. And you can find that by going to our website, and you can go on the police department on the online reports, and you can just do it right there. And again, like I said, we follow up with you afterwards to make sure everything is there as needed, that we can get the report done. We'd also like to welcome Kim Laidlaw. We hired her last week. She replaced Beverly, who had retired after 17 years. And she has been in for about a week or so and is doing a great job so far. Learning a lot every day, she says. Finally, of course, happy Thanksgiving to everybody. And of course, make sure you lock your cars, take your keys and key fobs inside with you, and put your garage doors down every night. And that's all I have.
Thank you, John. And now for the village administrator's report, we go to village administrator Rob Pisha.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just want to be a little repetitive. As you know, with the last windstorms we've had, there's a lot of leaves down, and crews are going around and picking them up. I would remind residents to please refrain from putting your leaves in the street. It does create problems for drainage, especially when we have rain like occurred over the weekend. So I'd ask, please just keep it in the parkway. They will come around within a week and get it cleaned. We are on our final push for leaves and brush. There will be one final pickup during the last week in November, the first couple of days of December for both leaf and brush pickup, and then we will be transitioning over to our snowplow. So that'll be the last bit of it for the end of this season. Just also want to remind residents that burning leaves in the village of Frankfort is illegal. So I would ask that residents refrain from actually burning leaves at their residence. It is improper and is illegal. And then finally is just want to wish everybody a happy and safe Thanksgiving, and hope you can enjoy this time during these very strange Thanksgiving holiday. So that's it, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Rob. And trustee, let's see, Village Attorney Lamore and Village Attorney Mahoney, do you have anything for us this evening?
Nothing further. Thank you, Mayor.
Okay, thanks, Hannah. And that brings us to the part of our meeting we call Other Business. And this evening, we're going to start with Trustee Ogle. And Keith, that's because you're at the top of my screen.
Okay, I'm not sure how it shows up on the other TV, but thank you, Mayor. I have a couple comments tonight here too, and one is that first off, happy Thanksgiving to all of our residents and my colleagues on the board as well. This will be different. You're being asked to not gather, not do things. Thanksgiving is all about gratitude, and I for myself as well, to look for the silver linings and things, to look for the good things, and that there will be a deeper purpose that we'll realize after we're through this. The small businesses, Mayor, you in your proclamation, you talked about some things are very important. Small businesses, and they're not just the boutiques and other things like that. They're small manufacturing in here, but they really are the drivers of our U.S. economy, and certainly here in Frankfort as well. And it's disheartening, the statistic that 62% of them need to go back to COVID level sales again before the end of the year. Otherwise, they may not make it. It's very important that we do try to support each other. I've seen and talked to some of the business owners, and they're trying to pivot as much as they can to adapt to these constantly changing mandates and things that are out there. And people should understand that a lot of these businesses, they've been working without taking a paycheck for long periods of time now, and that they are working extra hours, sometimes just to keep it open, also just to keep other people employed, their employees. A lot of sacrifices being made, and that they are digging into their own personal savings in order to pay the things that don't go away. You have no revenue, but you still have rent. You still have business insurance. You still have internet, the lights, everything else like that. So I do appreciate that our board has stepped up. We've received money through from the federal government through the CARES Act, and we're trying to push that down to the community by waiving business license fees and also some of the liquor licensing fees they're done for the renewals. For a lot of these businesses, those expenses, again, they come out of their pocket. Some of it may not be huge, but again, it's very much, I think, appreciated by them when everything that, a lot of them are operating without a paycheck and working additional hours, working 60, 70 hours to try to keep their businesses open and afloat. And it's a small part of it, but I'm glad that we've all stepped up to do that. And again, I hope that everyone has a great Thanksgiving and that you find the silver lining in everything, and we will get through this. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Keith. Clerk Fury.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just want to wish everybody a happy Thanksgiving and go Bears. That's all I have, Mr.
Thanks,
Mayor.
Brian. Trustee Farina.
Thank you, Mayor Holland. I too just want to say happy Thanksgiving to everyone. Certainly, I've been very reflective of how much I am grateful for so many things this year, despite COVID. Number one, my family, my husband Keith, and my boys. But I'm also very grateful for working with everyone here on the board, including the attorneys who are with us this evening. I've learned a lot. I'm awfully grateful for Rob Pisha's leadership. This was a very hard year, and you even look at our packet and agenda tonight, we are getting stuff done. Services were never disruptive here in Frankfort, regardless of COVID. Chief Barica, you and your team have been out there despite a pandemic and interacting with the public, because that's what your service calls for, and I thank you for that. I'm also very thankful to utilities, admin staff, as well as Public Works, everyone back in the offices, back in the utility and Public Works buildings. You're a great team, and I really appreciate everything you do for this village every day and its residents. You make our job look easy, and I know it's been tough this year. So thank you very much, and have a great and relaxing Thanksgiving with your families.
Thank you, Margaret. Trustee Petro.
Thank you, Mayor. I just want to again acknowledge some of the ways that the village, whether it's the staff, the village board, being creative with the different events and opportunities and flexing on our programs to give back to the community when they're spending within the Frankfort boundaries, as well as now doing something for the businesses around the licenses that we're waiving those fees. So I know that the upcoming holidays aren't going to look and feel like they have like anything else this year, but I know that everybody will have some good fun with their families nonetheless. And again, just recognizing some of the ways that we're still trying to celebrate the upcoming holidays in a safe way where we can all share in some of that celebration. So happy Thanksgiving to everyone in staff and on the board and all the residents of Frankfort. Thank you.
Thank you, Jess. Trustee Severia.
Really kind of hard to follow that. I'll just echo the comments of my fellow trustees and have a great Thanksgiving, everyone.
Thanks, Gene. Trustee Clavio.
I would concur, Trustee Savario. The further down the line you get, the harder it is to do this. But just a couple things, Mr. Mayor. I did want to welcome Kim to the police department. I do see that she's got some blue blood in her family, so she'll become with some experience, and it's glad that she's fit in already. I want to recognize our new planner, Chris, in the planning department. He started a couple weeks ago, but I don't know that we've I recognized him yet. So welcome aboard, Chris. He's already taken lead with the Plan Commission, is in doing a great job with that and stepping up and the hard to fill Zach Brown shoes. So thank you to both of them as well. I wanted to echo some sentiments about small business. I don't know that I can necessarily see anything more persuasive, but we're all used to Cyber Monday, which is the Monday after Small Business Saturday. But most of our small businesses are also have an online presence. So we don't have to wait until Cyber Monday to take care of some of our smaller businesses, or if people are feeling uncomfortable with COVID and don't want to go out, do keep in mind that our businesses do have an online presence and you can order online, have it shipped to you. As Trustee Farina said, they do curbside pickup, and they will also, which I think is very creative and pivoting on their part, is they will do private shopping experiences. So if you did want to call them, they would make arrangements for you to be the only one in their stores, which is kind of cool. And then I finished simply with Happy Thanksgiving. And as Trustee Ogle said, is let's focus on the silver linings. Try and focus on the items we have, not what we don't have at that point. And just general statement to all of you and to the residents of Frankfort that I personally am very thankful that I found this community 20 years ago, and thankful for all the residents that I meet on each and every day. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, John. And Trustee Borelli.
Yeah, that's hard to follow. There's a lot of great things said already, so I'll just echo those and wish you all a happy Thanksgiving and same to all of our residents. Thank you.
Thank you, Adam. And that brings us to the part of our meeting we call public comments. Did we either receive comments in writing, or is there anyone who would like to make a comment to the village board tonight?
Mr. Mayor, no public comments were received. We do have a couple of panel or attendees. If they would like to speak to the board, I would ask that they raise their hand at this time to be recognized. Okay, appears that they're just watching, no participation. No one here in the village boardroom.
Well, very well then. I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
We have a motion by Trustee Ogle. And can we get a second?
Second.
And a second by Trustee Petro. We'll go to our clerk, Brian Feary, for the vote.
Okay. Trustee Petro,
Yes.
Trustee Ogle,
Yes.
Trustee Borelli,
Yes.
Trustee Clavio,
Yes.
Trustee Farina,
Yes.
Trustee Severia.
Yes.
Motion carries.
One of the things we learned, ladies and gentlemen, this evening, that all votes, when we're meeting electronically like this, are supposed to be a roll call vote, just to make sure that everybody understands how people are voting. So that was the purpose of that. But with that, this meeting is adjourned.
Happy Thanksgiving, everyone.
Happy